This is Dylan Baker here at the wonderful Finkbine Golf Course, home of the Hawkeyes, coming to you with the Go-To Club Test. So the Go-To Club Test is designed to help you figure out what is that go-to club that you're going to have when you get in those tricky situations. So if you have a tight tee shot and you need to keep it in play, if you have a tricky layup and you need to hit a good solid shot, we need to have a club that we can rely on and help us keep it in play and move it down the golf course closer to the hole. So how do we do this go-to club test? Well, I'm gonna have 10 range balls pulled off to the side here, okay? And then what we're gonna do is we're going to grab what we think is our go-to club. So that might be a 5-iron, might be a 7-iron, okay? I have started off with my 7-iron. And then next what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick out 2 targets on the driving range. And I want those targets to be about 30 or so yards apart. And our goal is to try and hit all 10 of those golf balls in between those targets. So we're gonna go through, we're going to hit those 10 shots, make sure on each of those 10 shots that we take our time, we go through our whole process. Don't be afraid to take 2 to 3 minutes in between each shot and really focus on trying to get every single shot in between that left and right target. So a good demonstration would be like this. So I have 2 targets out there right now, about 30 yards apart. I'm going to try and hit this shot in between those 2 targets. Okay, so that first one, unfortunately, I did not keep in play. Okay, so the goal would be to try to get all 10 in between the left and right target, but you're going to find out that you're probably not going to get all 10 in between that left and right target. So the very first time you go through, you might get 6 or 7 out of 10. Okay, take a little break, and then what you're going to do after that first round of 10 is you're going to do a second round of 10, so a total of 20 shots. Now, the second time you do it, your goal is to beat that first round by 1. So if that first round you got 7 out of 10, your second round, your goal would be to get 8 out of 10. Now, the overall goal with this is to try and get at least 8 out of 10 every single time. So if you pick a club and you're finding that you're only getting 5 or 6 or 7 out of 10 on a consistent basis, then we need to go down in the bag. So let's say you chose your 5-iron and you're struggling with it and you can't keep it in between the left and right marker. We need to go down to a 6-iron and we need to test that and see if that's going to be our go-to club. Some of you may find that it might be an 8-iron, 9-iron, or even a pitching wedge, but that's totally fine, okay? We want to have a club that we can trust, we can keep it in play when we get in those tricky situations. Now, over time, if we keep working on this, the goal would be to move that club up the bag. So even though we might be starting out with an 8 or a 9-iron, whatever that might be, our goal would be after training and practice and working on this, we want to move that up to a 7-iron and then a 6-iron and a 5-iron and so forth. But we want to have one to start with, okay? The ultimate goal would be to eventually get all the way up to the driver to be able to keep the driver in play on a consistent basis, okay? So this is the go-to club test. Give this a go and you'll start keeping the ball in the short grass.